This is Love Marlene 411, and welcome to this week's episode of the Sip and Chat. On this channel, we cover various topics such as trauma healing and toxic relationships and friendships and so many other things because when we work on healthy relationships outside of ourselves, we also work on relationships with ourselves. We set boundaries, we do all of the things because it's all about self love, healthy relationships, standing up for ourselves, being confident, and knowing our worth. So, welcome to this week's episode of the Sip and Chat. Hey, Deflection Mode, how are you doing? Welcome in. I'm going to start with the channel song.
I spent a lifetime hiding in the grave with a heavy heart and nothing left to say. Battling shadows, walking in the rhythm of the life I didn't choose. From the silent cries and the darkest nights to the moments I almost gave up the fight. I was lost in the echoes of a hollow sound, searching for a solid piece of ground. But I'm Love Marlene 411, and I'm standing tall. I'm living proof that you can survive it all. From the 411 to the depths of my soul, I'm taking back the pieces, making them whole. It's a journey of healing, a path to the light. We're breaking every curse and winning the fight. From my heart to yours, let the healing start. We're making peace with the past and broken parts. It's more than just a story, it's a brand new lens, seeing where the trauma stops and where the light begins. Breaking generational chains, link by link, learning how to feel, learning how to think, guarding my spirit, my mind and my peace, watching the anxiety and the tension release. I found a self-love that was always meant to be a gift from God, now living in me. No more worthlessness, no more shame. I'm calling out the joy and I'm calling it by name. I am conscious of the seeds we sow. Watch how the garden starts to grow. But I'm Love Marlene 411, and I'm standing tall. I'm living proof that you can survive it all. From the 411 to the depths of my soul, I'm taking back the pieces, making them whole. It's a journey of healing, a path to the light. We're breaking every curse and winning the fight. From my heart to yours, let the healing start. We're making peace with the past and broken parts. Spread the love, spread the light, live your best life, hold on tight. I'm Love Marlene 411. The journey has just begun.
Hello, everybody. This is Love Marlene 411, and I have my co host in the house, Miss Nexie.
Hello, Miss Marlene. Hello, everyone. How are you, Miss Marlene?
I'm doing great. Before we get into it, I got to play our song, our Sip
I
and
heard
Chat
it.
song. Okay, let's do this.
Pull up a chair, leave your worries at the door. Whatever's on your mind, you don't have to carry it no more. The steam is rising from the cup, the vibe is feeling right. We're diving deep into the soul, we're searching for the light. From the aches and the pains to the joys we finally find, it's the sip and chat, the healing of the mind. It's Marlene and Miss Nexie, side by side. No secret too heavy, nowhere left to hide. They're pouring out their hearts just to fill yours up again. A conversation started between two good friends. Whoa, this is the Sip and Chat, the weekly place to be, where we talk about the heart and we set the spirit free. Pour a little love, take a little sip. Life is a journey, the message is clear. Love is all you need, love is all, and you'll find it right here. Yeah. Matters of the heart, yeah, we're breaking down the walls. Learning how to stand up even after all the fall. Self-love is the lesson, self-care is the key. Becoming the person that you're meant to be. So watch the videos, enjoy the weekly flow. We're planting the seeds to help your garden grow. Turn those notifications on, don't miss a single drop of the wisdom. Because you deserve to feel better, you deserve to heal. Where we talk about the heart and we set the spirit free. Pour a little love. The message is clear. Love is all you need. Love is all, and you'll find it right here. Sip and chat. Sip and chat. Love yourself better. Love yourself better. Weekly podcast. Pouring out that soul. Marlene and Miss Nexie, making hearts whole. Oh yeah, making hearts whole.
Okay, all right, all right. Miss Nexie,
Hello,
welcome.
Miss Marlene.
Hey, don't I like every time? I know I say every
I'm
single
still
week.
snapping my fingers. Don't worry about it. Be quiet, woman. I'm still like going with my fingers.
Yeah, I'm back here like a bobblehead,
Yeah,
bopping
me
my
too.
head.
And my fingers. I'm going, yeah. Hmm.
I love that Sip and Chat song. So always says the same thing. Beautiful
So
song.
catchy. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So Miss Nexie, welcome to the Sip and Chat. You know what I have to ask you. Hmm.
Yes, of course I do. Go on, go
Okay.
on.
Okay. Okay.
Ask
Okay.
me, woman. Ask me.
So Miss Nexie, what are you sipping on today?
You're not gonna like the answer.
Oh boy.
Hot coffee, super hot
Oh,
coffee in a super hot day, which makes me crazy, right? At
Miss
least that's what my kids say.
Nexie.
I don't know why I wanted a cup of coffee, Miss Marlene. I know it's midday. I should have not, but I just wanted a cup of coffee. I'm crazy. That's
Well, you know it's your right, but my okay, okay, I'm ready. I'm
let me
ready. I'm ready.
ask you. Let me ask you, Miss Marlene, what are you sipping on this beautiful sunny day in Florida?
Yes, on this beautiful day in Florida. Actually, I had just come off work, so I got to take a little bit of the edge off. So I have Hennessy Black. So
Whoa.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah,
Party's starting.
yeah,
Let's get going. Let's get it going, girl.
yeah. So I had, you know, a little sip today, just a little
Ooh.
bit, just a
Hey,
little.
you know what? It's a brand new week starting. We need that.
Uh oh,
We
you
need that.
sound robotic.
Oh no. Please don't tell. My internet has been acting crazy. Yesterday we're down all day. So Sorry, everyone, if it's crazy today too. So.
Yeah. Well, it's okay because you sound like T-Pain. It's actually kind of cool.
You're bad.
So, Miss Nexie, let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. And before we get started, I have to say that this topic today is for adults only. Kids will be blocked, hidden. This is a conversation that yes, we can have it, but there's going to be respect here, respect for everybody who's in here, and also respect my mods and myself and Miss Nexie. Okay. So now that that's out of the way, um, yeah, let's get into this topic. Today's topic is when intimacy stops.
Ooh.
Oh, and because of YT, I can't say the SEX. So I said sex. So that's what we're going to say for the rest of this conversation. We're going to be saying a sex. Okay.
No, the saxophone. Like
Oh,
saxophone,
the
like sax.
saxophone.
We're gonna talk about the sax today. Well, Miss Marlene, go on, get started,
Okay.
get
Okay.
started.
Okay. So the reason why I wanted to have this conversation today about when intimacy stops, because I don't really hear a lot of people talking about these topics. Most of the time, everybody's talking about, oh, yeah, let's get it on. And we've been doing it and all this stuff. And they always talk about how everything is so great. And I know that that's not realistic. It's not realistic because there's no relationship that it's always everything is hot and heavy all the time. There's gonna be where you hit a wall, or sometimes the intimacy stops, or the heat and the fire is not as hot as it used to be because of many reasons. And that's what we want to talk about today. When the intimacy stops, what are some of the reasons why it has stopped? And also, is it possible to have a relationship romantically that has absolutely no saxophone activity? Hmm.
I'm glad I came up with that.
And it's so good. It's so
I'm gonna
good.
giggle the whole time.
Yeah.
You
Go
know,
ahead, Miss Nexie.
it's someone, Miss Marlene, and I know you've been married before, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that we're both, divorcees, and
Mm-hmm.
I had a longer relationship than you did, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I a lot of people think that intimacy, especially for a woman, right? Because we're going to talk from that perspective, right? Because we're not men. So we don't know how theirs ends, or, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know how that happens because, we're not in their shoes. But as a woman, being in that relationship that I was for so many years, I feel that for me, the word intimacy is more of, not just the saxophone part,
Mm-hmm.
but the whole romance in the, in the bedroom, right? The whole thing. Like, for me, the intimacy died, um probably like 5 6 years into it, due to sometimes little white lies from that person,
Mm-hmm.
or things that were probably said and done, and sometimes in, anger. And I felt like once that romantic, intimacy died, everything else went with it.
Mm.
Like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I know we, there was intimacy, right? But it wasn't a romantic one. It was more like, I guess we have to, right? Because we're married.
So you're saying that for you it turned into being
A
you
shore,
you
like a
yeah
shore.
you do it out of obligation because of
Yeah.
your marriage vows, not because of love.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's a point, and this is why I'm bringing this up right now, early on, because there's a point in when that once that romantic intimacy fades away, there comes a point where, yeah, you do it for because we have this relationship. I took my vows, and we're supposed to have all this together. I'm supposed to do this into, well, you know what? It's been years, and if I don't want to, I don't have to. If he doesn't like it,
Mhm.
I don't care, kind of thing. And from that part, then there's a point where that person stops asking too, right? Because you don't realize that that's going to happen as a woman. But there's a point where your partner too stops asking or initiating or anything like that, because there's a point that they get it, that the intimacy or the romance or the saxophone is gone. It's done from the relationship.
Mhm.
But it took many years, many stages, that I didn't realize the pattern. I didn't see it, and I didn't realize it was ended or ending so early on in the relationship, until I went back in time. Once we were divorced and separated, whatever, I went back in time and I started kind of, how you go back in time and start going over the relationship. And that's when I realized, of course, it was doomed for failure. It was going there because
Mhm.
all this had died so early on, or had
Exactly.
finished. I shouldn't said that died. I shouldn't
Yeah,
say that.
that's
It
okay.
was finished.
Yeah, but I can understand exactly what you're talking about with this subject and intimacy. And for me, Miss Nexie, I can't speak for anybody but me. But for me, when an intimacy stopped was when it always got to be, because in my opinion, I feel that men are so after respect, and for me it's making me feel like my load is lighter. That for me, that's intimacy. Thinking of me in a way that you care about me so much that you want to lighten my load. That's intimacy for me. Like trying to help me to not be stressed out, thinking about what I need, and because you love me, you're willing to lighten the load. And for me, when it stopped being about what I needed and started to shift into only about them, for me,
Hmm.
that's when it was like the relationship for me was, it came to a halt. Because as always, put a comment in here, once the intimacy is gone, it's hard to find your way back to each other. And I agree with that 100%, because for me, even though at that point in the relationship nothing really bad had happened, but it was like we were friends now. And I've said it so many times, and you have too, Miss Nexie. I don't
Hmm.
believe in being a friend in a romantic relationship. Everybody is different. For me, I can't be with somebody and call them my friend. That's not my friend. Either you're going to be husband, boyfriend, but you're not my friend. Because for me, I'm a person that when I friend zone somebody, I'm not going to kiss my friend.
Exactly,
I'm not
exactly. And
interested in kissing my friend. But that's
thank you.
me. That's me.
Exactly
So
how I feel.
everybody's different.
Exactly how my mind works too, Miss Marlene. But for me, I even cringe sometimes when and everybody's different. We're not criticizing that. We're
Right.
talking about our feelings, right, Miss Marlene? We're talking about how
Yes.
we feel when with that word, because friends for me are very sacred. Right, I respect them
Mhm.
because I want them to respect me the same way. I treat them, with a lot of love and care, and that means there's nothing biologically or something, like nothing, like they're friends, right? They're not my sister, my brother, nothing biologically. They're just my friends by choice. So I love them like a brother or a sister, but they're just that. I wouldn't do that with someone that I love so much like that. So when I hear sometimes couples, or someone say, my significant other is my best friend, I cringe because I'm like, oh my god, I will never do that with my best friend, because I have those boundaries. So it's kind of
Yeah.
weird. And yes, Miss Marlene, when somebody tells me in their marriage, oh, now he's my friend, he's my best friend, and I tell him everything, I'm like, oh my god, it wears me out, and I don't know why. But in my mind, Miss Marlene, when somebody says that, you know what I go straight into? Oh my god, there's no saxophone anymore in their marriage because they're
Yeah.
friends now. That's
and
exactly
I
where it
and I
goes
always
to.
say, I say, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody's minds are different. We're not criticizing. We're not giving you any ideas. We're just telling you how we feel. And you and I have a lot in common when it comes to those
Hmm.
different terms that we use of endearment, right, towards others.
Yes.
But I do not. Again, for me, it was many years that there was no saxophone anymore. And I knew, it was ending already. We kind of like dreaded on a little bit the cutting off part, the finishing the whole thing up, because we had kids, and we had to kind of like, easy on the delivering of, we're no longer, a couple, we're no longer together, but we're still your parents, right? We had to kind of find a way, a loophole in their busy lives to kind of tell them. But I did notice, for me, it was, early on, that ended.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So, Miss Nexie, now I want to shift the conversation to what intimacy means for a woman versus a man. Now, we're not men. We're not saying we know how men feel, but based on some conversations that I've had, there's a big difference between what intimacy looks like for a woman versus a man. And if there's any men who are in here, feel free to put it in the chat, because I would love to know what you all think. But
Th-
for me as a woman, intimacy is being close, having important conversations about certain things that I probably wouldn't tell anybody. And I don't mean the things that I tell my best friend. I mean romantic things that I may have going on in the relationship, like talking about those things and all those things. For me, that's intimacy, that you feel comfortable, that you can open up and talk about anything that you have going on in your mind. Whereas as far as the sex part, but also as far as the stress, because for me, it's connected. Maybe not every woman, but for me, if I'm really stressed out, there is going to be no saxophone.
yeah. Yeah, I actually had you know what, no, tell me more, Miss Arnie. I'm asking for a friend, not for me. Tell me more, what's going on with you? Why is
So,
it there is any saxophone when you're stressed? I'm asking for a friend. Go on.
okay, okay. Hey, Sirius, how are you doing? Welcome.
Hi,
Um,
serious.
so for me, Miss Nexie, it's a thing when I feel wound up. Like that's the last thing I have on my mind. It's like my mind can't stop thinking about my problems. I can't shift into that intimate part of the saxophone if I feel like I got so much things that for me that I feel like is more important. And I know that that may not sound good in a relationship, but it's the truth. It's like if I feel stressed out about work and problems and cleaning and cooking, etc., I don't feel like it's important to me, which I know that's probably not a balanced view, but I'm being honest. And I feel like if you are in a good relationship, they should be able to say, like, what's going on? Like, how can
Before.
I help? Yeah, how can I help to bring us back connected Whereas I feel that as a woman, a lot of times we'll feel like our partner should know that we've been together for a long time. He knows if I'm stressed out, don't touch me. He knows if this or whatever. They know that. And I think that it's something that we as women have to stop expect having that expectation that they know you like that.
Mm.
If you have not, and I learned, and therapy helped me to elevate in my emotional intelligence, being able to communicate my desires, my wants, and all of that. And I think it's one of those things that, like, we're kind of shamed as women to say I don't have need or I do have needs, just feeling like you should know that.
Or you shouldn't say it to him. Like you
Yeah.
should keep that. Like just no. You know what? It's interesting because we come from a lot of um generational trauma in a different way than
Mhm.
our own personal trauma is, right? But I have had a lot of family members close to my age, some a little bit older. But the one thing I noticed when the topic will come up, sometimes when we're having a big group and somebody comes up with something funny, you know how it escalates and everybody starts talking about certain things, not everything in detail, but certain things in their relationship. But there was a couple of old aunties of ours that even my sisters and I did a double take because they said we were talking about how you play around, you have fun before the act of the saxophone,
Mhm.
before playing the saxophone. and and then they were like, oh no, what do you mean? Oh, that's disgusting. No, 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 we just played the saxophone and then everybody, each other goes to bed and I'll see you tomorrow morning. And and we were like, what? Like we did a double take, like, whoa. And then I was like, what do you mean? Like like you don't. Oh, no, 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 lights off and to the deed,
Straight to it.
and deed is done, and good night, and you go to bed and you wake up in the morning and the day starts all over again.
Hmm.
Do you, like, you don't ask initially? Oh no. Oh, no, 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 I don't. So there's
Wow.
no, no, no. And they will say, please don't talk about that. Like we don't feel comfortable doing that. But in my mind, as a young, married woman, I was like, wait a minute. So that means it's just there, okay? Like I don't know. Like in my
It,
mind,
it,
I
it,
was just Miss Marlene. In my mind, I imagine lay down, turn around, run,
yeah.
like an army command.
No, to me it sounds more like robotic.
Yes, like a chore, like something that has to be done because that's what you signed up for. There's no romance, there's no romantic gestures, there's no enjoying before you played in the band, nothing like that. It's just that, okay, we're here for procreation, right? And when procreation is done, we are just here because it's a necessity and you have to fulfill it because you're the significant other, you're the partner, the wife, the girlfriend, whatever. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh my god, that is so sad and so boring. And my aunts took a double take on their end when we said that, because they were like, what do you mean boring? Like what do you mean, what do you guys do that is not boring? And we
Yeah.
left it at that. But it is sad that sometimes is something that they go an entire life, married life, without knowing that that shouldn't be like that. or that that is not supposed to be like that, that it can be a fun, enjoyable, band playing moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they don't know that, and when it ends, and this is the thing also that tripped me up a lot, because I had an auntie that it was probably in her early 60s at that point. Yeah, probably early to mid 60s. And she said, oh yeah, oh well, you guys are still young. We stopped that about, I don't know, 15 to 20 years ago, so we don't even go there anymore. I was
What?
like, what? Yeah, exactly, Miss Marlene. That means you were, and I'm doing the math, and my sisters are hitting me with their elbows, like, stop, because I can see you're doing math.
Yeah.
You're mathing this thing. Stop it. I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, okay, okay. I'm not gonna math. I'll tell you later. She's like, you don't have to. I already know. I already read your mind. But I'm thinking you're in your 40s. Well, her husband, let me tell you this. Her husband was probably about 15 years older than her,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he's probably at this point when she's probably mid 40s in his, almost 60s. So, but she's like, yeah, we haven't done that in like 15 or 20 years. Like and I was like, whoa. So nothing. Oh, no, no. We're just great friends. And, we have children and we love each other. And there's more to life than that. And I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, when you're 80. Just kidding.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. See, but my thing is, Miss Nexie, and having this conversation, we're real and raw with about things, but it's just like I feel like people a long time ago feel very uncomfortable talking about those things because that's been a generational thing that you don't talk about anything that comes to the saxophone playing, anything that comes to the intimacy and what you like and what you don't like. It doesn't matter what you like and what you don't like. It's like you're married, you're in this relationship, and that's it. You just do it when they want to do it, and then you make them happy. But they never get into those things like, am I happy? Am I being satisfied? And, is
Oh,
there,
that's no, no.
yeah,
No, no. They cover
mhm,
their ears. They leave the room. Oh my God, you guys are
yeah,
disgusting.
yeah. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I believe 100% why people will be married for so many years, and then as soon as the kids get to be 18, they're out of there because they don't have that conversation. I haven't been happy, satisfied in probably 18 years.
That's one, Miss Marlene. Or the other one is, as I got older, I when my aunt said that again, we were both, my sister, because it was just one of my sisters and I were like, whoa. Um, Now I understood that, when you're saying that, they just do it for that. And remember, again, we're going with our Caribbean, right, upbringing, the
Mhm.
stories we heard, the things we know about our people, right, about our upbringing, that is more about satisfying them. It's just their thing than it is about you, because we're not priority. And I'm sorry to say this, I don't know if it's the same way on other people, but in our culture, it's all about them, right? That they are okay, that they're good, that their saxophone has been the loudest. That's all it matters. So
Not the
you
saxophone
play.
has been the
Yeah,
loudest. I
exactly,
love it.
exactly. My saxophone didn't matter. No, so when my auntie said this, and as I started getting older, and more into the marriage, I started realizing that of course she could live with him with no intimacy in between them, with nothing, because there had never been any intimacy between them. It had been saxophone for him, but there was nothing for her. So she didn't miss anything that she's never had before.
And
That's what
that's
it
it.
hit my head. That nothing, she didn't do anything that, because she could miss later on in life and say, oh my God, I wish, so and so and I could do this. again or more, or I miss it, because there was nothing there for her to miss. And for him, because remember back then there was nothing that they could do to continue on that activity in the bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
continue playing the saxophone. There was no medicine for that. Even if he wasn't okay, there was nothing he could do, right? So for her, it was okay. It's something that I don't think it will be nowadays for us, or as of the past, what, 30, 40 years for us,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because we
that's
know.
because there's new technology. There's so much things. There's awareness, and people are more open in talking about ED and etc. Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
always put a comment in here. Exactly. It's sad that our emotion means nothing to their feelings. And I for myself, that's when I feel like all of everything that I felt about them, it ended when all if all we're just in a relationship to be, basically rabbits. We're
Mm-hmm.
just rabbits. It's like, why are we together if that's all to the relationship, that's all you care about. Like, if you say, you're going through something or you're crying, it's one of the, oh, you're always crying, that's really
Mm-hmm.
irritating when you cry. Why would I think sometimes men don't understand that when they're like, "Oh, here you go talking about emotions," that's a direct link to turning a woman off.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, we have more knowledge now. As women, we have more knowledge as to, and we can speak out. There's more information on the fact that we matter too when it comes to playing the saxophone, that we can
Mhm.
be as good or probably better than our counterparts, right?
Mhm.
And that we should have, a good song played on that saxophone, because we matter too. We're women. We have, our feelings, and we have needs too, as compared to before, that was things that were unspoken of, like, no, 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 you don't say things like that. You got married, especially back in the day with our aunties, our old aunties and stuff, is that you got married, you probably didn't even know what you were going to do after that, right? You
Mhm.
didn't know what was coming after because it wasn't talked about.
Mhm.
So as far as your parents and your grandparents back then, it was, you're going to do this and you're going to procreate, and that's it. Now we have more like, are you happy? Are you satisfied? There's these other ways you can do. There's more information, and it's more open. You can talk about it. You can talk to your friends about it. It's okay to do these things. Back then it wasn't. It
Yeah.
was frowned upon. Like, how dare you? What kind of a liberal woman are you when you're asking things like that, even with your own family?
Yeah. It's like,
So
if you talk about your needs are not being met, it like I remember having
their eyes
conversations.
open.
Yeah, I remember having conversations like this with some, and my mom and some other older people in my family were like, Why is that important?"
They'll get up from the table and say, "Oh, no, no, I can hear this. What is wrong with your child?" That's the first thing they'll
Yeah,
say to that person. What kind of upbringing did you give this child? And it's like, okay, I'm a
it was
woman. I'm
like,
not a child.
yeah, it's like, yeah, we're grown now and we can talk about these things, you know. And that's one of the things that I think is important. That's why I want to have this conversation and have open dialogue and talk about it, like, not just women, also men, because it goes on both sides. Emotional support must be provided on both sides, because I have also seen it has been in some cases where the guy is, in the same shoes sometimes that women are in, that he's doing so much and the woman doesn't, talk to him about things, that all she's interested in doing is just playing the saxophone and, you know being jackrabbits all the time. That's all she thinks about.
Ruling the band, yeah.
Yeah, talk about I rock the band.
I make the laws in this place.
And it's on both sides. Emotional support has to be provided on both sides. And I really don't think that a lot of ladies understand that yes, men do have feelings too. For some, it may be new or a little bit difficult or uncomfortable, but you should also ask them, are your needs being met? Are you happy? Are you being satisfied? And I don't really don't think that most women think about the needs of their partner.
No,
Are
no.
they okay? It gets to be like, well, I'm not happy, so that's what counts. And that's selfish.
And if I'm
It's
not
selfish.
happy, he's not gonna be happy. Miss Marlene, I remember I had already had my first child. My daughter had already been born. And I remember hearing my dad, he was having a conversation with one of my cousins. He was, I think he had just gotten married, probably like 2 years into his marriage. And he was very close to my dad. And he was talking to my dad about, I guess, I didn't hear the whole thing. The only thing I heard is my dad was explaining to my cousin, and that's why I brought in the saxophone, because my dad said to my cousin some words like, a woman is like a guitar. You can with a guitar you can play beautiful melodies, right? Beautiful, beautiful music, but you have to know how to touch it in the right way. If you are mean, if you are rude, if you're this, you're not going to get any music out of any guitar. If you're not delicate, if you're not playing, touching those strings with a delicate touch, as far as being there, helping and that's what he was trying to make my cousin understand, that we women are like a guitar, to play beautiful melodies. You have to know how to touch us. But he wasn't meaning in a nasty way. He was meaning in a, you have to make sure you're good to her. You have to make sure that you're touching, tugging at her heartstrings. Make sure that you're there, that you're doing everything. And once you do that, that guitar is going to be able to play amazing melodies, because you're playing it the right way. And I was like, huh, that is pretty smart. My dad is a
Yeah.
genius, because I got everything he just said without being nasty.
Yeah. I
And
like
it's
that a
true.
lot. Hmm.
Right? It's a beautiful analogy. And I was like, oh, that is actually very smart. And I'm sure that he was probably talking to my cousin like that, because he was a young man, newlywed, blah, 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 whatever. And he probably didn't want to be too, mm, you know, disgusting in a way, I guess. He wanted to make it nice and clean and clear for him. But again, there's times that we complain a lot, Miss Marlene, and I'm talking as a woman myself, that we complain sometimes about, oh my God, there's no conversation anymore. Oh my God, he doesn't want to, every time I ask, he's like unavailable, or he doesn't initiate anymore. And we forget sometimes that we have made them this way, because of all the rejections, because of all the drama or trouble sometimes that we cause, or maybe we've made them feel like every time they ask, we just do it because we have to, right? Or every time they ask, we're like, I can't, I'm not, I don't feel like it, or I guess, or again. So they go through this too, and we don't understand sometimes why, they're not as sweet as they used to be, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes it's us, because I've seen it happen. Sometimes
Yeah.
we make them become like that because of the way we treat them without even realizing what we're doing sometimes.
Exactly, exactly, Miss Nexie. And I really like that analogy about, that they're like a guitar, and you can make play beautiful music. But it's just like this conversation that always was talking about here in the chat. intimacy is a conversation beforehand. And, without sounding disgusting or anything, but I think that it's important to talk about the, what you need, the frequency, how often are you in the mood, how often, whatever it is that you desire, because I'll just say it this way. So much people, they go by liking somebody and they don't get into, but is this a person that is the right match for me long term? They're only thinking about, well, right now, because it's hot, it's heavy, and all this stuff, and we're getting married. They get wrapped up into this bubble of the emotions and the highs of everything, that they haven't had those conversations. Is this a person who even wants what I want?
Hmm.
Like, like,
Likes what I like.
he likes what I like, because I have even had some friends who they have gotten married, and they're like, "Oh no, I don't do that."
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, wait a minute. So now you're married to somebody, and the thing that you need to, put to play beautiful music and to feel close to your partner, you're not going to get. So how could you be happy and satisfied in the relationship if you are not getting what you desire? And like I said, it goes on both sides. And I believe that people put the cart before the horse. It's like
Yeah.
people just marry, I'm not marry, they just meet somebody and they're already have jumped in the bed together, right? So
Hmm.
they haven't even had the conversation, what do I actually want? So I think it's the reason why a lot of times people they'll finally get to the part where the saxophone has been played, and they're like, oh, that was terrible, because they never had the conversation about what they like, what pleases them, what makes them happy. And that's the for me, that's the maturity.
And because of things like that, Miss Marlene, as you're saying right now, sometimes you're like, so there's nothing between you, but you don't realize that that started from the moment you chose each other, right?
Mhm.
Because I've seen couples, Miss Marlene, that they're in their 70s and they still very much in love. They still very much into everything together and beautiful relationship. And I'm like, how do you do it? It's because they picked the right person to go through life with. I have had, and again, we marry sometimes for the wrong reason, right? I want to get out of my house. I don't want to be alone anymore. I mean, he's very nice. He likes me a lot, or she's so nice to me. She
Money.
likes me. She likes me a lot. Yeah, I'm going to be comfortable in this marriage. And we sometimes oversee the fact that we're not even closely related when it comes to liking certain shows, certain movies, music. Maybe this person doesn't even like music
Yeah.
and I do. Doesn't like the shows I like, but doesn't even like TV. So those things come into play as you start living together, and that's when the intimacy gets out of the bedroom because there's so many things that you do not match on outside the bedroom that once you are together and in living in the same household, going through life together, it kills the saxophone playing because
Mhm.
you're not alike at all. So now you're in this relationship and you go through life with someone that you hardly knew, you don't know anymore, you have nothing in common with, and there's nothing in common anywhere else anymore. So you go through life just living as a couple just for show and for your kids or whatever, and that's it. So intimacy out of the bedroom is not a big deal because there was nothing intimate about your relationship to begin with. It was just only playing saxophone, and that's what you went on by. That's why I'm going to marry this person because he plays the saxophone really good. You know what I mean? Or she plays my saxophone She rocks the joint, and that's all you
Yeah.
have in common. But once you marry, there's more to that than just playing beautiful music. There's
Mhm.
more to everyday living. And so when I hear people like, oh yeah, we haven't been, oh, don't worry about it, there's nothing going on between us, for it hasn't been for the past 15 years or the past 30 years. And I'm like, you guys still together? Well, yeah, we have kids, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? But then, I started realizing that maybe those years that they were together, 20, they were probably just his delights, his saxophone being played. She didn't make any music, so she doesn't know what she's missing or what she never
Mhm.
had. Right?
Yep. And I think, Miss Nexie, yeah, I'm gonna go there.
Mm.
Because a lot of times people get into the relationship and they don't even know what they want. That's it's very sad,
Mm.
but I'm just gonna be honest. I'll just put it on the table. I'll take one for the team. Because there's a lot of women, they get into this relationship based on, what that's a person that the family likes. It's because it's I'm at the age where it's time to get married. Oh, I want to have children, and not based on that we are moving towards goals in the future. We have goals and plans together. It has to be, there has to be an emotional connection to make the intimacy continue throughout all the years of a relationship. You have to have that. And like always said, you have to have those conversations before the relationship even starts. You gotta have that before. So,
Y- y-
I think
you,
that's
you know,
important.
Miss Marlene, once I went through my separation and divorce, and again, because we're talking about intimacy, right? I understood a lot of why the people I've known and that stay in marriages that they have probably been overlived, right? They have overstayed their welcome. I understood why sometimes they stay, why they keep the facade, right? Like, why do they want people to see that they have a great marriage, or they still together and whatever? It's because of fear, because you are going to be criticized by everyone. You're going to be judged of why you left, or how dare you leave your marriage, and how could you do that to your kids? And what are you going to do now? You're probably going to go out and meet somebody else, and you know what I mean? Like, there's so many people, and especially in our families, right, judging and probably out of fear they stay in those marriages or those relationships so that they're not judged as hard as we were judged by our friends sometimes, and family, of course. And I started understanding what my aunties stayed, or my uncles will stay in relationships that I was like, there, it's doomed, there's nothing there, but the fear of the judgment and the fear of failure, because that's one of the things that sometimes keep you in certain places, workplaces, relationships, and sometimes even friendships, right? They keep you there because you're so afraid of what people are going to say, what they're going to think of you, or about your kids, how they're going to judge you.
Hmm.
And so I started feeling so bad for my aunties, even though I was afraid and I didn't tell my family for like 2 years that that relationship had ended and that this person had moved out. I didn't
Hmm.
say anything to my family for 2 years. They had no idea. and and I wanted to do it this way because I wanted it to get it out of my system, so that when all the questions, all the judgment, all the negativity came my way, I was able to be okay answering all of that, taking all of that without feeling pain, or feeling bad about the decision I made. But it is hard
Exactly.
for me, except as a wife and as a partner. It was hard for me to stay in a place where there was no intimacy whatsoever anymore, emotionally and in and saxophoneless. it
Yeah.
was it was hard to be there because part of having that beautiful relationship, that beautiful intimacy, is that you have to play the saxophone, and you
Mm,
have to do it with love and caring, understanding, all of that. And if you don't have that in a marriage, going through it without that, it's super hard. and
yeah.
and I understood once that it had ended, how easy it would have been to make a go of it, like let it go 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I should have done that. That was my thinking. This was not that bad. Like what was I so afraid of? Like, who
No, well,
cares what people say?
yeah, but that is what controls a lot of people. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's, well, what will they say? Oh, it didn't work out. So you would rather, save face and be miserable than to be free with
Mm-hmm.
judgment.
Playing the
For me,
saxophone with another bandmate.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I highlighted the comment. Hitting a home run will not make me stay.
Exactly.
It's not going to make, like, maybe some people it will make them stay, but if that's all you have in your relationship is just how they play the saxophone and what they do to me, it's that's nice, but for me that's like maybe
Shallow.
yeah, that's shallow. And that's also for me personally, not speaking about anybody else, but for me that's like the 20-year-old me.
Yeah.
That's like the young version of myself before I was in tune that, yeah, we're gonna need a lot more than just that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, it's, once I again, once I went to like a few years, probably again, without any, because yeah, the intimacy in your relationship, meaning the love, like the joy and everything, goes away. But sometimes you continue to play the saxophone, I said again, without any attachments, any feelings, any nothing, just to get it over with. But once that ended, I went on like 7 years with no saxophone playing at all in the marriage. And I
Mm,
started understanding my aunties, right? I started understanding like why they were okay with it. Like, the people will see our marriage, our kids, blah, 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 everything so beautiful. But I was empty inside. There was nothing there but just, you're the father of my kids, I'm the mother of yours, and let's play this game the best we can until we can't no more. But I
mhm.
understood how they have gone for 20, 30 years with nothing, just to keep appearances, or
Right.
just to remain Mrs. So and so, to get that respect. What I had to understand is that those were the olden times. Now I can be respected whether I have the Mrs. So and so in front of me, or I'm just Miss so and so.
Right. So,
So those things are the generational traumas that we were talking about. That because we grew up with this, with our family, our older, aunties and everybody telling us, you're
mhm,
supposed to be married, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to Mrs. So and so. That's so important. We get so traumatized that is so freaking scary to get that Mrs. So and so out of your last name. Once you do, out of your name, you're like, why did I stay for so long? Who was I
yeah,
pleasing? Nobody cares that I don't have the Mrs. So and so. They're gonna respect me because I'm gonna make myself be respected.
yes,
Not
and
because that Mrs. is gonna make them respect me. That has nothing to do with it. Go on, Miss
right.
Marley.
And I wanted to also segue into this because I think that it's so important for us to have these conversations, especially those who are, you're in a relationship and there is no fire, there's no flame that's gone out a long time ago. And it's for different reasons, the intimacy the flame goes out for so many reasons. But my question is, why do romantic relationships start becoming, sexless? Why does the saxophone stop being played? And I can say for me, when when the emotional support stopped, so did my desire for wanting it with them. It's like I would have like a bad day, and I would come home, like, like when you go outside and deal with other people, it's like I feel like sometimes the world beats you up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come home, that's supposed to be your solace, your
Your happy
comfortable
place.
space. Yeah. And I feel like, okay, I just got beat up and then I come home and I get beat up too. It's like, what? It's like
Now,
you expect to the intimacy part for me. I expect to come home and I say, and then they, I wrap up in their arms. I can feel comfort in their arms, and
mm-hmm.
they're gonna reassure me. They're gonna tell me I'm here for you. But when it's like, oh, here we go again.
Oh, I had an uncle and an auntie. They're both resting in peace now. My uncle, her husband passed away, and my uncle married her. She had two kids, I think, from the previous marriage. But what I wanted to tell you was so cute because my uncle was very good to her. They loved each other very much. And sometimes she will come and say, can you believe my flowers? I went to that other side of the house and those little flowers are dead. And my uncle would comfort her. And I'll be like, it's just flowers. And then my uncle would say, well, it hurts her. I have to, make sure that she's okay because that's important to her. So I have
Hmm.
to care, even if I don't give a crap about her flowers. I was like,
Hmm.
what the heck? And it was hilarious because he will say that I don't care half of the crap she likes or she doesn't like, but I love her. So I make it a big deal and comfort her because that makes her happy. And I love her. And I was like, but you don't give a crap about the flowers, but I love her and I give a crap about her. That's all
Hmm.
it matters. And they were together for almost 50 years. They passed away within 6 months of each other. Isn't
Yeah.
that beautiful? They had three more kids together, and it's a beautiful blended family. But what I'm trying to say is that some men are very mature when it comes to the feelings and understandings that even if they don't care about our day
Yeah.
or whatever, they fake it so that we, because they love us, we can feel okay. Now, I'm gonna go into a topic, Miss Marlene. I hope you don't mind
Hold
about
on, Miss.
how.
Hold
Oh,
on, Miss
go
Mexi. I
go
just
on.
wanted to say, right there is emotional intelligence. Go ahead,
Hmm.
Miss Mexi.
No, no. What I wanted to say is I'm gonna go into how we feel with the lack of saxophone playing, the lack of intimacy, how I felt. And I know that is something that we don't really talk about because it's very intimate, right? It's very like invasive and it's out to the world now, right? It's out there now because we're talking here in our podcast, and I know it's going to be out there. But for me personally, I felt very lonely, very unseen, very unloved, um, taken for granted. I felt very empty, unattractive. I felt I'm not a depressive person because I'm not. I'll be lying if I said I am. But there were times that I will feel a little sad about the fact that even though I was with someone here, there was nothing between us. There was no attraction, and that in a way, as a woman, it hurts you a little because you're like, then that means I'm probably not going to be attractive to anybody else. If this person that I married, loved me, and had children with doesn't find me like that anymore. And so I
Yeah.
felt very lonely. I got to say that because even though saxophone playing might not be like a big thing for us, it is an important part of us, right? And it makes us feel in a way beautiful, loved, cared for, attractive, and many other things. It lightens up our life in a way that when you don't have it, and you're constantly seeing that person that you used to be so intimate with, so cared for, so loved, or whatever, you're there with that person that doesn't feel that for you anymore. So it's a very lonely time, very sad and empty part of my life that I really will never like to go there again. And I can
Mm-hmm.
only imagine, back in the day, or even now, older people, right, older than us, that are probably in loveless marriages, saxophoneless marriages,
Mm-hmm.
and how lonely, how empty, and how sad they must feel.
Yeah. See, the thing about it is, I made sure when I did this channel, when I changed the name over to Love Marlene 411, that I was going to have these sort of deep conversations. It's not always the easiest to say, but I want to speak for be the voice of the voiceless, because I know that there's so many women and so many men that you can be in a relationship, but your needs aren't being met. And
Hmm.
it's not about having the conversations. See, the former me, Miss Nexie, used to think, oh, if I talk to them about it, if we communicate, if you have chosen the wrong person, if you have do not have somebody who is willing to see you, if you are in a relationship and that person sees you as invisible and the only person is visible is themselves, then the problem is not the saxophone playing. The problem is you selected somebody who is not on your same wavelength.
Hmm.
There's not going to be longevity in the relationship. So, yeah, I who wants to be in a relationship that there is no music, there's no fireworks and spark. We all want that in the relationship, but there's a lot of things that goes along with that, and that's something that so many people just don't understand. It's like it people will get to the relationship where where now one or both does not want to do any more saxophone playing, but
Yeah.
they don't have the conversation of why has that stopped,
Hmm.
why
Exactly.
they're not willing to come to that fork in the road and say, okay, I'm accountable, I've done this and this. All I ever hear is on both sides. I hear women say it and I hear men say it. It's them, pointing the finger. They do this, they do this, they do this, they're selfish, they're mean. But also, Miss Nexie, if I'm gonna be real, because as a woman, I have vibrated on a higher frequency and I'm accountable. I can say that there is a lot of times where I'm just selfish. It's like I don't care about what he wants today. It's like I'm tired. I was like, go to bed. Leave me alone. You know? But also at the same time, I had to learn how to be mature enough to say, okay, I'm tired right now, but make a compromise. It's like, okay, I'm tired tonight. Said, but bet in the morning, let me get some sleep.
Yeah, hold that thought. I'm gonna go
Hold
to
that
bed.
thought.
I'll talk to
Pause.
you. Yeah, I'll see you in the morning. And trust me, I will
Pause.
see you.
And
I will see you in the morning.
in the morning, the flute will be played.
In the morning, I will, trust me, I will play your saxophone like never before. But Miss Marlene, I've heard things, about marriages or living together. I remember hearing things like, so you guys are in love. Not really, but love comes later. You get to you get married and get to know each other, and love will bloom. And I'm thinking, like, what? Are you crazy? So you don't love this person? But those are the marriages sometimes that last the longest, and that they actually have, that love bloomed because they got to know each other. And I always be like, nah, that doesn't work. They're supposed to love them before you get married. But that is not a formula, right? That is not necessarily true.
Mhm.
Sometimes, yeah, you like this person, you get to know them in a superficial level. They like what I like. The topics we talk about is something I love. They like plants like I do. They like movies like I do. That we pretty much like the same music. So yeah, it's gonna work. We have the same thoughts about family and children, whatever. They do the thinking before the love blooms. And I'm like, I will say when I was younger, oh, that's not gonna work. They don't even love each other. And those are the best marriages so far for
Mhm.
me. Like I've seen them. They've been together for 30 plus years. They have kids, grandkids, and they're the happiest. And I'm like, they did it right. We went
Mhm.
for I'm in love.
No, Miss Nexie. We went for, it's like it has to be fireworks and sparks,
And
and
that saxophone has to
and that
be the best
saxophone better be played.
and very tuned up. Went for the Chinese saxophone.
And it sounds like, oh, it sounds like something unrealistic, unreasonable, because I used to talk to my mom and some other older people, like, how, like, okay, when you first start in the relationship, everything's nice, it's hot and heavy, everything's great. But when problems come into the relationship, you get older, they start changing and things like that. Like, how do you keep that intimacy, that connection going? And that's one of the things that my mom used to say. That is a part of remembering who you met when you first started. and and
Yep.
and I think that's the problem with most people, is if you only have the connection of that saxophone playing, and you didn't have, what are the things that you did when you were getting to know each other? What
Hmm.
drew you to one another? And you got to keep those things going,
Oh,
because people give up the dating and
oh,
the googly eyes and the notes and the
oh,
the what
yeah.
do they call pillow talk? They
Or
stop
Miss
that.
Marlene, how many times did he rejected things I liked? How many times did she rejected what the music I played? How many times it bothered him when I wanted to watch this show? Or how many times it bothered her when I wanted to go to the museum or I wanted to see these paintings? Oh, you know what I mean? Like those little signs in the beginning that didn't support your likes and this, you didn't even see that part. Like you kind of like jumped over. Oh, he doesn't like it. He'll like it later. She doesn't like it. She'll like it later. You didn't even take into consideration that the person you were in or marrying or supposed to be in love with was like nothing about the things that you liked, had nothing in common with you
Yep.
except for the saxophone playing.
Yeah. My mom used to always say that. She's like, all that stuff, is nice and stuff. She's like, everybody likes to be in a relationship where your eyes roll back in your head. We all want that. But I was like,
Hmm.
oh my God. I was like, ew.
Ew, ew,
I know, right?
mom.
But what she said after this was like the most profound thing that I ever heard. But she's like, but you're gonna want somebody that when you don't feel good, they'll take care of you, bring you
Mhm.
soup, will feed you when you can't even stand up for whatever reason, getting older and things like that. And they'll help you to bathe you and clothe you. She said that's the intimacy that people lose out on in the relationship. Like having that, I want to take care of you. I'm here for you for whatever you need. And sometimes it means being a little patient, um, being playful, and it's my opinion, Miss Nexie. It may not be everybody else's, but I believe that the foreplay is way before the saxophone playing. It's all the time. It's supposed to be that playfulness, taking care of each other, a touch of your hands, holding you, things like that, a kiss on the forehead, writing a love note, buying flowers, whatever it is that that person likes. doing things in their love language. For me, that's the intimacy part that people leave out. And I think that's why the relationship goes cold, ice cold, because you forget about doing the things that drew you to them from the beginning. It's like, okay, when you first met them, Miss Nexie, I don't know about you, but when I first met my person, I was like, girl, I was fine. Okay. I had my hair done, my fingernails, my toenails are always done. I had my makeup, my hair was done. After a while, when you're in the relationship, you're like, your hair is standing up on the top of your head. Oh my
They're
God.
like, what happened? Did you melt it or something? What happened?
And I was like, and I got like two silly braids from the color purple on top of my head, and they're like, what the heck is
Who
this?
are you?
It's like, Harpo, who is this woman?
You know, again, there's so many things that we missed out on. I don't know. I think that sometimes we jump into relationships again because we either need to, or we have to, right? Before finding ourselves on the street alone or whatever, or you know just because we need someone to protect us, right? But we don't stop and think that, hey, there's nothing in common between us. Like, if there's no spark, there's no our way of thinking is so different. And you don't see that. It affects you later, and you start going back and saying, yeah, I should have known it was not going to work because blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that we don't stop and think sometimes is, okay, I don't like it, right? That he likes this and that, but maybe I can compromise. Maybe I can start looking into, maybe I will like it. And he probably can do the same thing, right? Oh, let me see. I don't like her shows, but maybe I can sit and comment on something that I don't even know nothing about. But I just I just want to make kind of like make conversation, connection, or whatever. But once you're in the relationship, all of that ends, because you're already in there, so you're secure. You don't have to try, which is what my dad always say. You have to continue trying, because even though you are in a relationship, that he used to say, the romance, the kind of like the winning that person, you shouldn't give up on that. You should always try to keep it, going, so that you can have that boyfriend and girlfriend type of relationship always in your marriage, because that's what dies, and a lot of times that's what breaks us apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
It's
like, huh, that's smart.
what my mom used to always say. She used to always say, she used to say on both sides. She said it to the girls and to the boys. She's like, don't forget to not lose yourself in the relationship. And I think that that is another reason why the relationship, the intimacy stops. You stop wanting to, because one or both can always only focus on some things. It's like some focus on the kids, or you focus on your job, or you focus on your parents or siblings or whatever is going on. You focus on your issues, and you don't draw yourself back to each other. The important
Hmm.
factor, yeah, you have kids, yeah, you may have stuff going on in your work and things, but what is important? That's what my mom used to always say. Remember who is important. Remember that you chose each other. And it's those reminders that I used to be like, ew, when I was younger. But I remember my mom and my dad used to say, that's my girl. And I used to go, ew, disgusting. But it's true. Even as you get older, you have to still be choosing each other. And I think
Mm.
that's what stops the intimacy, when you are with somebody who stops choosing you. They stop
Hmm.
they stop
Or
choosing they stop choosing your emotions. They stop choosing to feel like you look good. Oh, you look old. You're haggard. You're washed up.
Or
You're
Miss
this.
Marlene, or you
Mm-hmm.
stop choosing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't pay attention to them. And then you wonder like, how do we get here? And it's a two-way street, right? They have to pay attention, but we also sometimes, especially me, and I've said this to you before, Miss Marlene. I think I've said it in our podcast before. Once I had kids, everything went to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like a focus on kids and upbringing and everything. So the concentration was, saturated on the kids and maybe 80% of it, and then 20 on that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So that damages the relationship too. And I take ownership of that. In a way, it was probably a way of me saying, there's nothing here anymore, so my kids are going to be my focus so that I can continue on this marriage. Subconsciously, probably I make that decision, right? But I was so concentrated on them, and that our relationship, and thinking, well, he's the father, right? So he's not going to mind because there are
Yeah.
kids. And I forgot that, I had the kids, yeah, but he was important too.
Yeah. That's what, I have to always go back, Miss Nexie, because my dad used to teach me a valuable lesson before I could even understand. My dad used to always say, yes, you guys are my kids, but one day you guys will grow up and you guys will be gone. And he said, forever, that's going to be my girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I never, I was like, what is he even talking about? That doesn't
I'm the
make
girl.
sense. I was like, bye, mom. I'm the, I'm the number one over here. I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about, but it's the truth in a romantic relationship. I think that's a balance too. If you have children or you have other people in the home, like some people, their parents live with them, or they have other relatives or things like that. They have other people, and it's so easy to focus on, I got to take care of my mom and my dad or my siblings or the children, or I got work over here. It's easy to get unbalanced and completely forget about the person that you're supposed to be having life with. You're supposed to be building this wonderful thing called life together. And it's easy to get distracted. So, it's just an encouragement for every single one of us that if you've kind of got out off kilter, off track, unbalanced, and I'm going to be real, Miss Nexie, for me, it used to be I went to work so that I could stay away from the person I was with. I was like,
Yep.
yeah. I said, yeah, we're gonna do some. I said, do you have overtime? They're like, girl, go home. I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Anybody? and for me, that's when I knew something was wrong. When you try to avoid going home, when you don't want to take their phone calls, when it's like everything that they do, you have something negative to say, you are literally sabotaging your relationship. Every
Yep.
time you say, I don't want to go home, every time there's something that you want to talk about and you say, I don't want to talk about it. No, you need to talk about it.
Even if you don't want to.
Even if you don't want to. And you also, on the other side, you need to listen to what your partner has to say too. And that's something that I had to learn. It's like, oh, what do you have to say? I had to learn
Even
to
if you don't
cut
like
that
it.
out. Like, don't show up with an attitude. Just listen, because it's not just your needs that matter, it's their needs as well.
Miss Marlene, it's funny because I remember when our children were younger, this is when, cell phones were starting to become something, cell phones, right? And my ex is an engineer, so he was very busy at work. And he told me, there's a lot of projects. I'm going to be super busy. So I probably won't be coming home early. I have a lot of work. I got happy. I was like, oh, okay, good. Don't worry. I got the kids. You do you. I was actually okay with that. I didn't care. Like I was like, good, stay at work, come home at 9 or 10. Who cares? I'll see you when I do. I'm gonna work this weekend. Sure, go ahead. I have to take the kids to, practice, or they have a tournament, or whatever. I was okay with those many years of him being busy and traveling, the world with all this work, because I didn't have to face what was going on.
Mm-hmm. But Miss Nexie, I'm just gonna put all the cards on the table. Listen, if he's not tuning up your guitar, and if you're not playing, he's not playing the saxophone, somebody is going to start playing the saxophone, or tuning up your guitar. I'm just saying. And we don't
Yep.
want to bring that sort of division into somebody that you've chosen, your partner, your person. And that's one of the things that I wish that I had somebody to like shake me up when I was like newly in my relationship. I wish I had somebody like, you got to stop letting other things be more important than the person that you're with.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be anybody. And I wish somebody had said, whether your kids, your job, your this, your that, yeah, those are important things, but it should not take precedence over
Hmm.
your, that's like, that's your husband, that's your significant other, that's your, it's supposed to be the person that you chose. And
Yeah.
it's like, and when you stop choosing them, you should be saying, why have I not chosen them
Miss Marlene,
anymore?
Miss Marlene, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but somebody to tell us, stop avoiding that topic you need to address. Stop bottling up your feelings. Talk about it. Somebody that shook the living crap out of us and say, hey, face it. Say exactly how you feel. Ask exactly what you need. Don't just go along with the flow so that you don't have to face that. So you don't have to face them and say, hey, I need this, or you're lacking this, or why am I lacking? Because I think that the avoidance is not so much because you don't know what to say or you don't want to say it, is because of what they're going to say to you, where you're messing
Mhm.
up, what you're missing out on, what you're doing to them. I think that we avoid those topics, those hard conversations, those confrontations, because sometimes it ends up it's a confrontation because we don't want to know how we're lacking, what we're doing wrong in that relationship, because according
Mhm.
to us, we're perfect in it.
Mhm.
So I think that a lot of times we wish we had someone to say, "Hey, before this dies, before you stop it from getting somewhere beautiful, say what you're supposed to say. Confront that person face to face, let it all out, and work from there." I,
Mhm.
me too, Miss Marine. I wish, as you, that I would have had someone to slap me around and say, "Hey, go on, talk to him." Face
Mhm.
it together, say what you're supposed to say, even if it hurts, but
Yeah.
also be ready to take what he's about to tell you.
Yeah, because it's a two-way street, and
Exactly.
that's something that Miss Nexie, I think most people want to say, oh, oh, and they're doing this, they're doing that, pointing the blame game. It's one of the oldest since the beginning of time. Everybody has been pointing, and they do this and they do that. But what about, and I had to face myself when I went to therapy. What do you do, Marlene? Are
I'm sure you
are
did.
yeah, are you, and I mean, Miss Nexie, it was one of those things, I felt like I got punched in the stomach. It was
Yeah, well,
very,
I
go
was
ahead, Miss
perfect. So
Nexie.
I don't even know how you felt because I was perfect. I told my therapist, I mean, I'm fine. I don't do anything. Like, I do everything the right way. I was perfect. So I don't know how you felt. My therapist, his eyes opened up as wide as a saucer, both of them, looking at me like, are you
Mhm.
this delusional? And I was like, what are
Exactly.
you looking at me like that? Like, I'm good. I take care of the family. I'm doing all this. I'm giving all that. And he's still looking at me like deer on headlights. And I'm like, what? He's like, okay. And he started writing.
Mm-hmm.
And he had it on big letters, delusional.
Yeah. But that's the thing, Miss Nexie, that we each, on both sides, women, men need to, men, like, if you want to salvage your relationship, you can't be like, whatever, rolling your eyes, having an attitude, speaking over the person that you're with, just because their ideas are different than yours. It doesn't make it stupid. It doesn't mean it has no value. It's not important. Like what your, I think you said your grandfather said, that what was important to her
Oh,
was
my
important.
uncle, my
Oh, your
uncle,
uncle. Okay, your uncle.
my
So
favorite uncle, my favorite
so
uncle.
yeah, that's amazing. That's something that I'm going to take with me for a long time. If it's important to them, it should be important to you. And Miss Nexie, I'm going to be honest and real 100% here. When I was in my relationship, it was just about me. I didn't care. It's like, whatever you want your saxophone, but I'm not. Nope, I'm not in the mood. I'm tired. Go to bed. Leave me alone.
You know, Miss Marlene, what is it called? Um, what do they call it? To that you only hear what is convenient to you or what is
Mm-hmm.
important to you. What is it called? Selective hearing. There you go.
Yes.
Selective hearing. I actually, and this is what, when my uncle said this, what tripped me out the most is when he said, I can care freaking less about that crap. As a man, right? As a normal guy will do. I don't care about stupid flowers. Who cares? They die, they die. He says, but it's important to her. And I
Mhm.
looked at him with, are you crazy? Like, why would you lie like that? And he's like in my mind, right? I'm thinking, why would you like? He's like, I don't care. I don't even like flowers, but she does. And this is just one example of thousands, Miss Marlene, that she will be like, oh my God, this cup broke. And he'll be like, oh, let me see if I can fix it. Don't worry, we can fix it. And or a vase broke or whatever. She will be all over the place and he'll be over there rescuing. But then when he needed something, she was right there next to him. He
Mhm.
restored his faith and he restores hers. But the thing is, in my mind, he was lying. Like, how could he? But then if you think about it, Miss Marlene, that's the whole part of give and take,
Mhm.
right? You're supposed to, even if you don't like something, you say, you know what, let me go see just once or twice so he can feel validated. Oh, I went with him,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. It's cool. And, because they do a lot for us too that they can care freaking less about,
Yes.
but we like it. I was more of the avoidance of going along with the flow or whatever. I have to work. I didn't even bother in saying, oh, you're going to be really busy. Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you need me to do anything? Is everything going to be nothing? I said, okay, no big deal.
Mhm. My,
I didn't even inquired, Miss
you
Marlene. I
know,
didn't even inquired.
my thing, Miss Nexie. But I learned, but it was too little, too late. I learned to start, like, okay, the things that was important to him, I was trying at the end of it to be like, oh, so, oh, how is your game? Why do you care?
Mm-hmm.
You never cared before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, after a while, even when you try, but when it's too little, too late, like you said earlier, they've been hearing, oh, that's stupid, that's not important. It's numbing. Now they're numb to you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no attachment, there's no feelings, there's no, and if you don't have any attachment, why would anybody want any connection? And another thing that I had to learn from my mom was, stop telling your person that you're fat.
Mm.
My mom used to say all the time, she said, when we first got married and I said that, and your father said, I'm going to tell you this one time, so please make it stick. If you tell me, look at me, I'm so fat, how do you expect for me to be attracted to you? So my mom says after that, she said, I would say it to myself, oh, I gained weight. But she said, I never, she said, I learned. But if you think about it, why would somebody, if you always saying, oh, look at me, do you think I'm fat? Do you think I'm fat? Do you think I'm fat? What person is going to be, oh, yeah, hubba, hubba, you're hot. No, you say all the time you're fat. Why would I be attracted to that? So, there's
Yeah, you're
power in
telling
the
me you're
tone.
ugly. So
Yeah.
why, if you think you're ugly, that means you probably are. So why am I going to be attracted to ugly
Yeah.
or to
So,
stinky or to
yeah.
dull or to whatever?
Yeah. So
My my
what my
father always
dad
said that
said,
men were simple.
yeah, so what my dad was saying is something very valid, and women and men need to take that into account. Stop saying, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm fat, I can't do this right, because when the person you're with hears that enough, they're one day they're going to believe that.
Yeah. And again, Miss Marlene, we're talking about, a saxophoneless marriage, right? And my thing is, as we were talking, me and my therapist, and we're going over, the relationship, the my intimate relationship, my personal relationship with him, our connection. And the one thing, he did say is that um once once a man understands that it's a saxophoneless marriage, everything is over for them. That's it. They can stay and in the marriage, as you will stay too for the kids or whatever, but there is no connection with you anymore
Mhm.
because there's no intimacy. That it's kind of like they work different, and so it's done. That trying to protect you, trying to show you love, trying to all of that, it's done because it's a saxophoneless marriage. There's
Yeah.
nothing that connects them to you. There's no intimacy. We can continue on loving, right, them even if there is a saxophoneless marriage because we
Mm.
don't work with for us saxophones playing, it's a good thing, but it's not the most important thing. For a
Miss
man, it's different.
Maxie,
No, it's
not
not. For a man,
true.
no, it is true. For a man, it's a biological thing. They have to, right?
I don't
It's
know,
not
Miss
something that
Maxie.
they choose.
It must
For
be
us,
something
girl,
wrong with me because
well, we
I
know,
can't do.
honey, that's a fact. We know there's something wrong with you. We all say it here on this YouTube streets. We've known for a long time.
I can't do a saxophoneless relationship. I'm sorry, I can't.
No, no,
Can't
I
do
know,
it.
but what I'm saying is, for them, it's something biological. We're trying to talk about that because I was like, well, it's not that all the time. I don't. It's once a week, twice a week. That's okay, but it's not the same biologically for a male. It's different, right? So he was telling me, trying to explain to me, those things, like, you know men think differently. So even if you say, if you tell him, no, there's nothing wrong with me, he'll be like, oh, okay, there's nothing wrong with her. You tell that to a woman, what's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong. She'll pastor you all day long. What's wrong? Tell me. Come on. I know you're going to tell me what's wrong. What's bothering you? Because that's how women are. Men are different. You tell them, no, there's nothing. I'm okay. Oh, okay. She's fine. You know what I mean? They don't have the same instincts we do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he was trying to make me understand. Biologically, for a male is different than it is for a woman when it comes to the saxophone playing part. As you said, I'm tired, not today. That's it. For them is different, right?
Mm-hmm. See,
You
but
rejected me. You don't want, there's something wrong. Like, that's it. You killed the mood. You're killing, but whatever. You're unaliving the mood. I shouldn't say kill. You're unaliving the mood. It's something's wrong. Okay, that's fine. They start resenting.
yeah, and also, Miss Nexie, when you start doing that long enough, they start thinking, "Oh, you have somebody else. You have
Yep.
somebody else. You're not interested in being together anymore. Whatever, you don't think I'm a good person. They also get a complex, but in a different way than women. You don't
Exactly.
think I'm a good man.
Hmm.
I don't satisfy you. I'm not a good provider, things like
I'm
that.
not good
But
enough
when
for you.
Yeah, I'm not good enough for you. But when on the other side, for women, the intimacy stops. It's like, you don't talk to me. You don't think
Hmm.
about
It's
my
different.
emotions. Yeah, it's a completely different thing. But also with that, it it can, I can't say it can be fixed, because if it's too broken, then it can't be fixed. But just like always said from the beginning, before you even get to that saxophone playing, you should be having these conversations.
Yep.
Like for me, I had to say from the beginning of my relationship, like, I can't be in a relationship with somebody that is not affectionate. I can't.
Mm,
I can't. And that was one of the things that was, and I'm going to be honest with you, Miss Nexie. I thought I could change that about him.
you can't.
I know, but I was young. And when you're
Of
young,
course.
you're
Oh,
dumb.
you
And
can change the world. You can change the
mhm,
world when you're young. You're gonna change the world.
right. And I was like, and I used to say that, like, scream it from the top of my lungs. I need for you to hold my hand. I need you to put your arms around me. I need you to reassure me. I need you to feel safe with you, and think. And I would say that over and over and over again. But one of the things, Miss Nexie, that I had to realize later is that I chose somebody who is not capable of giving me that.
Hmm. Yep.
You can say that until the cows come home.
And it's true. I am someone that is a very empathetic. I care about people. I love to help. I am always helping in one way or another, the community, the schools, the homeless shelters, anything. I can help people on the street. That's who I am. The person I was with is someone that doesn't care, someone that instead of saying, this homeless person is there, who, oh, poor thing, who knows what happens, is that person is there because they want to. Why are you feeding them? And it's like, so those things killed that love, because you start seeing how selfish, how this, how that. But I knew that that's how he was. And like you, I thought, oh, once he's with me, all that is going to change. He's going to become more caring, right? More loving of humanity, more compassionate. And that's not what it was, because he was showing me from the very beginning that he was compassionate. He wasn't compassionate at all. He has no
Mm-mm.
empathy for anyone. He didn't see people in the way that I saw them. That we all go through hardship. We all go through something that makes us get to this low point. Let's try to rescue. Let's try to help. I always like to do that. And my father was the same way as I am, which is probably why we are the way what we are. But this person showed me since the very beginning that humanity wasn't important, that he was important, that what he did, how
Mm.
far he got, and if he fell, he was going to get up again without any help. And that is the way he was brought up, because that's the way his father was. No empathy,
Wow.
no love for humanity, no, let's help so and so because they're having a rough time. No, let them deal with it whatever way they can. But I thought I could help. I thought I could be, he was going to change because of, the charity we were going to do together. No, it was more like, why are you doing this? They're going to end up in the same way. Why are you helping? There's gonna be more. Are you gonna help everybody? And that hurt me. So we sometimes pick the person that we know is wrong for us subconsciously,
Mhm.
right? We know that this
Yep.
person doesn't meet me in 80% of the things that I am and that I like. But we go into it because of that. I like him. He's funny. He this, he that, and or she's this, she's that, and look at her, the visual. But we don't get into the intimate part of that relationship much. We just go by the visual part that we like, and we negate to see the rest. And I think that's where the problem is. And that's why when the relationship is saxonless, we are
Mm-hmm.
okay with it sometimes because we don't care anymore. They have killed everything
Yep.
in the process. They have unalived, I shouldn't say, they have unalived everything else that we care about them in the process of getting to where we're at. So, we sometimes accept that because we don't even want it anymore. And my auntie comes to mind a lot because I'm like, since so you guys have been with 15, 20, that's a long time. You guys still together? Like in my mind, that blew my mind because I was like, you
Mm-hmm.
guys are there's nothing but the one thing they did have, Miss Marlene, it was an understanding, companionship. Her husband was older than her by 15 years, I think, and he treated her like a royalty. He was so in tune with her feelings, so good to her overall, that didn't matter to her because, and to him either, because it was his, he couldn't anymore. So, but his love for her and her love for him kept them going in a loving journey towards, till the end of times, as they said. And it was because they were so much alike and they loved each other sincerely, not like superficially like we do sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Miss Nexie, one thing that I have to say about, being in a good, healthy relationship that I didn't understand many years ago when I was young and stupid. I just say I was. I was very stupid and just when you go into a relationship and you don't know anything about what is a good relationship, what questions should you be asking, what red flags should you be looking at, I went into the relationship blind.
Hmm.
And when you don't know what is not good, you will just allow anything. And and in hindsight, now that I'm older, I'm wiser, I've learned, I've grown, I know how to communicate my wants, needs, and everything. I'm a different person now because the first time I will say something and then they'll say oh, that's stupid, I'm running like my feet are on fire
Yep. You already know.
because I went through that already, and I will never get in a relationship again where I feel like I have something that's important for me to talk about
Yeah.
and they tell me that it's stupid.
You
I
don't feel
never can do that
validated.
again. I
Yeah,
rather.
you don't feel validated. And that's the thing. When we accepted well, that's important to you, but not to me, which it was
Mhm.
said to me when it came to helping others and doing the best that I can for humanity. Well, that's important to you, but not to me. I really don't care. When that was said to me, it should have clicked and say, hey, wait a minute. I am at least 70%. That's me. That's
Mhm.
who I am. My goals for going forward is not just to help me and my family, is to be able to help humanity as much as I can. That's who I am. I was raised that way, and that's who I am. So that point, it should have been a form of okay, red flag.
Yeah,
This
this
person
isn't
just
gonna
told
work.
you, yeah, this person just told you in the early stages of your relationship that he doesn't care about anything else but you right now, that he doesn't care about humanity. That's not about him. He's about himself and you right now. But it should have said, but when he doesn't care about you, then what's going to happen? Right?
Exactly.
So, and that's the thing, that we don't go there. We don't see that because we're young, we're immature, we don't have the emotional maturity to understand these things and to see these things, because in our Caribbean upbringing, we don't talk about these things. We don't talk about loveless marriages. We don't talk about saxophoneless marriages. We don't talk about you come first and you have to look for someone like you so that things can. We don't talk about any of that. We see
Mhm.
bad marriages continuing on because, hey, marriage is forever. Divorce is frowned upon. You know what I mean? People look at you funny. Oh, that's your divorced auntie. Oh, yeah, yeah, that's her. You know what I mean? Like, we don't talk about things that are important to us, and they don't reassure us that our feelings are valid, that we
Mhm.
supposed to have people to validate us, even if they don't believe in the exact things that we do, but that for them, our beliefs are important. They don't tell us any of that. They tell us you're getting married, that's your husband, it's forever, you have kids and go through life. It doesn't matter if you're happy or not. You chose him, he chose you, and that's all it matters.
Mhm. Yeah, but but
So the
but
maturity is not there, Miss Marlene. We cannot even see these things because they're not talked about in our homes. I'm sorry. Go on, Miss Marlene.
yeah, I was just going to piggyback on that statement right there. And that's why these conversations like this are so important, because this is a message that needs to go viral. So many people need to hear this. If your antennas goes up, it's something that's really important to you, and that person, they're not supportive of it. They think it's stupid. They are not helping you to move closer towards it, because that's what makes you feel strong and powerful and at peace. And if that's not important to them as well, at some point in the relationship, that's going to be a reason why you're going to want to walk the other direction.
Yep.
I
If
didn't
it's not,
understand this over 20 years ago, Miss Nexie.
of course not. If it's
Yeah.
not important to them at the time when you're the most important to them, imagine when you become less important, meaning as the relationship goes on. They're right now they're infatuated, they're in love. And if this that you're
Mhm.
asking, your feelings are not important, they're not validated, they don't take precedence in them, that means as the relationship goes on and your feelings subside, then those things of you are gonna become even less important. They're not going
Yeah.
to matter. So those are the things that we have to be careful with on the people that we choose. Sometimes, again, I've seen, marriages last for a very long time. Loveless marriages, saxophoneless marriages, they're miserable. They hate
Mhm.
each other. You can see that, but they still together. And it's weird. Then you see some that are saxophoneless marriages, loving marriages, and they're together happily ever after till the end of time.
Mhm.
So, it's because they picked the right person. And sometimes you don't understand that. Sometimes you focus on, oh, he has a good job. He's going to be a good provider. My kids are not going to want and not going to have any wants and needs because everything's going to be provided for them. I'm going to have a great house. I'm going to have a lot of this, a lot of that. But you have an empty shell next to you,
Mhm.
someone that cares nothing about anything else but themselves. And
Right.
that kills the love.
Right.
Yeah, you're protected, you're supported, your kids have nothing to worry about, neither do you, but there's no love between
Mhm.
you. It's weird.
There is no emotional attachment, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the biggest things that I will say as a woman, that I will never sacrifice that ever again if I don't feel an emotional attachment. And I don't mean the love bombing, the manipulation, like meet you and 20 days later they love you because they already know you got a nice job, you got a home, you got a car, and they can see that, oh, I can use that and puppet you. And that's one thing that I learned in hindsight, Miss Nexie. That was the reason why I was chosen, is because
Mm.
they saw that I had those things. And I learned that. And, and I just
Mm-hmm.
had to stomach it and grow from it and say, ah, I see. So I was just, I was just used for those purpose. But then you learn things and you grow. And I can put this out there, this message for others that don't have to go through what I went through or Miss Nexie has gone through. And we can go in things with our eyes wide open. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the next sip and chat, I want for us to talk about some of those red flags, um,
Yes.
that we will see from the beginning but ignore. But I want to have the conversation of, what do you see, what is a no no, and this is, if you see this, run. That's what I think I want. I,
Yes.
I want the next conversation. If you see this, run.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the one thing I do sometimes understand is, in our, again, you and I were raised by pretty much the same,
Yeah.
we have the same upbringing, Korean upbringing. But the one thing that we do a lot in our upbringing is we get married very young. And I think that that sometimes is a problem because you haven't lived life, you haven't really been. And let's say you get married at 25, whatever, but you still living at home, you still protected, you haven't really lived life, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
don't know, you meet someone, kind of like falling little in love with, you marry without
Gullible.
even knowing, yeah, gullible, without even knowing what life is all about. My kids got married so old, in their 30s and stuff, late 20s and 30s. They picked the right person. They dated, they had fun. They knew what they wanted when they got married, right? Not like us, that we went from home to get married
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. So you don't really know. My children explored, and I'm happy about that because they didn't make the same mistake their mother did, which is
Right.
got married so young, had no experience, and really, made mistakes in the same way that the other person made mistakes. And so I'm I like for young people to take their time, to get to know who they are and to voice their likes and dislikes and not take or be taken for granted, right?
Yeah. And
And
you
I
know
think
what?
that's the one thing.
And you know what, Miss Nexie? And not just for the young people, this is for anybody who hears this because you could be older in life and finally come to the realization like, this relationship ain't serving me. It's time to throw the towel in, whether you're just dating somebody or you've been married to somebody or in between. You know how the situationships are too. So, but
Yeah.
you know that the relationship is not going anywhere. You know that it's toxic. And one thing that I feel so good about is that I finally gave myself the permission to say this is a toxic. I'm never going to be happy. I'm never going to be supported. I'm never going to be loved the way that I deserve to be loved. There will never be the intimacy. This will always be just about them playing the saxophone and not for what I need. My needs will
Hmm.
never be met, and because of that reason, I feel good and strong in saying to other loved ones, don't stay where you're not happy. Don't stay where you're not supported. And I'm not saying give up if you have somebody who's willing to work on the relationship and things like that. But if it's beyond repair, where there has been some forms of ABUSC, or
Hmm.
there've been so much traumatic things like being physically assaulted, if you've been financially, if you've been been in an emotionless relationship, if it's
Or
oh, go
or
ahead, Miss
grape
Nestle.
or grape in a relationship.
Yeah.
Or
Mm-hmm.
grape in a relationship. Get out.
Hmm. Yeah.
You said something very smart, earlier in this little talk you had. You said something about, I'm giving myself permission to say it's toxic and get out, right? Because that's not what you want. Um, about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, um, in my ex husband's side of the family, one of his aunties, after 60 years of marriage, came up to the kids, to her children, and say, I want to divorce your dad. I'm tired of him. I'm done. You guys
Wow.
are grown, whatever. I want a divorce. I got really upset with them and I told them because they were like, why? Why are you divorcing him now? You're already in the relationship for 60 years. Just continue on. Who cares? I got upset at them and I said, what is wrong with you? I said, why do you want her to stay? If she's telling you, I want to leave him, I want to divorce him, I'm ready to support her. Do you have any idea how many years she's probably had thing in her mind, in her heart, how many years she's probably have wanted to divorce him
Hmm.
or leave him. I said, and you're telling her to stay, you're not validating her. Why
Yeah,
does
she was
she stay?
she wasn't strong enough to even say it.
No, and I said, as her children, you should say, yes, mom, if that's what you think it is, and that's what you want, mom, go for it. We're here for you, whatever you need. And don't worry about that. If you're done with him, go on. If this is what you really want, let her enjoy her last years of whatever life in solitude, if that's what she wants. But if she wants it peacefully, let her be. Why would you tell her, why are you doing it now? No, just stay with him. Like, well, that's stupid. I said,
Mhm.
you just canceled everything this woman has done for you guys. You
Mhm.
just literally told her, we don't care. Just deal with
Mhm.
him. We don't care what your feelings are. I said, you have to support her. Even if you don't believe or you don't think it's right what she's doing, it's not your place to judge her.
It's not your
I said, what is
life.
so wrong? I said, what is so wrong with you people? And I told her, I said, if that's what you want, do it. I said, do it, because if one day I'm ready to let this dude go, I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna touch my heart. I'm just gonna do it. I don't care what
Hmm.
my kids say. I say you guys are different than what my kids will get, because my children, they're gonna get a, hey, we're divorcing, okay, bye. Because you
Hmm.
guys are old already. They're in their 50s, 40s, and you guys are giving. I said no, 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 no. So you guys are so selfish, so self-centered. I said you guys are so horrible. And they were looking at me like, whoa, because I've never talked to them like that. But I really got upset because they were dismissing her feelings, Miss Marlene. Do you have any idea how long it took this 70-year-old lady to come up and say
Wow.
that?
Years.
And she
She
had put up
probably
with so,
wanted that for over 50
and Miss
years.
Marlene, she has put up with so much from that man. So much. And they know it too, which is why it bothered me. I was like, you guys are selfish, self centered, and a-holes. And I did say that word, by the way,
Yeah.
a-holes. I didn't say the whole thing, I just said a-holes.
Yeah, but you know what, Miss Nexie, it's a cycle of generational brokenness
Yeah,
because it's like because you've been used to, your parents or whoever, even maybe
toxicity.
your brother-in-law, sister-in-law, you've been used to them being together for so long that you don't understand why now, why leave now, because they have finally come to the space of loving themselves.
Yep.
They finally come to the space of saying, I deserve better.
Yes.
And that takes some
A
people more
lot.
time than others, because it took me a long time to come to the
It
space
takes
like,
courage, Miss Marlene. It
yes.
takes courage that sometimes we don't have. And when we find it, for someone to not validate that and tell us why, no, just stay there. Like, am I your child? I'm not your child, I'm your mother. What do you mean stay there? You stay there.
Hmm.
Like that is so selfish, but sometimes we can be that way.
Hmm.
We can
I
be in places that we don't want to be just because our kids don't want us to do that. It's like,
Yeah.
what the heck?
Yeah, and that's why I applaud other women and other men that have the courage to say this is not a good relationship. I have given my all and I cannot do anymore. I applaud those individuals because it takes a lot of courage to do that, and then finally to say, I don't care what anybody has to say. I'm just going through the steps that it took for me. Everybody's different, but I had to first in my mind say, I don't want this anymore. Then I
Yeah.
had to say, I deserve better. Then I
Mm-hmm.
had to say that I'll be okay,
Yep.
because you'll tell yourself, oh, I'm going to be so lonely. You talk yourself out of a healthy thing and keep putting up with the toxicity because you'd rather stay in the brokenness because it's comfortable. You've been
E-
so used to it.
exactly.
Yeah.
That I have, we come with from big families, and I have had relatives, male relatives, who are abused by their wives,
Hmm.
who if they don't like something, they'll punch them. or they
Mm,
will push them, or they will yell at them or call them names. And these are males being abused by females. And that's, hardly ever
mm,
talked about, right? And I will tell my, my cousins or whatever, like, why are you here? Like, why do you allow that? Oh, it's okay, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't matter, that's disrespectful. She's putting her hands on you. Oh yeah, but it doesn't hurt. No, that's not the point. I say your kids are learning, your boys are learning that it's okay for a female to hit them, that they don't have to do anything, that it's okay for them to get abused. And your daughters are
mm.
learning that they can abuse a husband. But you don't know if the husband is going to be okay with that. You don't know if he's going to turn around and beat the crap out of your daughter. I said, so you're teaching them wrong. I said, you got to send this woman to anger management. That is something wrong with her. And for years, Miss Marlene, when we will go somewhere and he will be late for something, she'll push him or yell at him in front of us. So what I started doing is I stopped attending their parties. I started avoiding them. Like if I will see them, hey, hi, bye, and I will say I gotta go. If we were in a gathering and they showed up, I will leave because I didn't want to find, because I know myself. I would have said something to her eventually, right? So I stopped seeing my cousin because they moved to New Jersey, I think it was. And
Mhm.
I found out about 5 or 6 years ago that he had left her. He left her about 10 years ago and he's in a new relationship. And he's already in his 60s, but he finally left her.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. That's crazy. That's so
it
crazy, Miss
is.
Nexie. It's
It
so
is.
crazy.
Because
But
male or female, nobody should make you feel like you're not important. Nobody should put their hands on you. Nobody. I don't care if it doesn't hurt. Oh, it does nothing. Her little punches are no, 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 no. Nobody should put their hands on you. Nobody should make you feel like, your feelings are, nothing matters because you're male and she's female. No, no, no.
no, it's not okay, and we will never condone any of that. But,
Hmm.
circling back to the reason for this conversation about when intimacy stops and, a saxophoneless relationship,
Existence.
yeah, existence and all of that. I'm gonna go back to what I said originally. When the intimacy stops, it's usually because there is no emotional support. There is respect has been crossed. A lot of disrespect, a lot of manipulation, a lot of feeling lonely, even though you're together. When that happens, it's very hard to come back from that. When
Yep.
you have when someone has keep disrespecting, disregarding, putting down, you feel lonely even though you're in a relationship. And yeah, it's going to suffer when it comes to, the saxophone and or the guitar being played, or whatever instrument you want to call it. It's it's going, the music is going to stop, the fire is going to go out when, on both sides, the emotional needs aren't being met, that they stop listening to you, you stop having hard conversations. And when that the love, like that fire, and it's not always going to be burning hot all the time, but that fire should always be there. And
Hmm.
that's what gets you through those hard times, those dark times. You circle back because we love each other.
Hmm.
And that's what gets you through. But when there is no respect, no support, no kindness, no gratitude, lots of disrespect, cheating, lies, manipulation, financial, abuse, so much graping. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
When,
Yes.
when when all of that is going on in the relationship, there's no way that there can be intimacy in a relationship. And in my opinion, you got to just call that relationship quits, because
Mhm.
if somebody does not care about your feelings, doesn't care about what's important to you, and on both sides, I'm not just saying this conversation only for women, for men, for all of the loved ones that is here, you deserve to be supported, seen, talk to you, should be happy to be in their presence. They should choose you, want to spend quality time with you. And if you're not receiving that, there's no way that other intimate things can happen in the relationship. Impossible.
Ex- exactly, Miss Marlene. If they're not respecting you, if they're not giving you that type of attention,
Mhm.
and your feelings are not valid to them, then there's no intimacy, there's no respect, there's no love. When people love you, they give you that grace. Even if the feelings, your feelings are not it doesn't make sense to them. Your likes or dislikes don't make sense, like my uncle said, but because they love you and they respect you, they validate them. And that's the important thing. Once those feelings die, a saxophoneless marriage begins, and that's the end of the relationship and the marriage eventually.
Yes, unfortunately. So,
Unfortunately,
yeah. So, Miss Nexie, what did we say next week is going to be the topic?
red
I already.
flags.
Yes, red flags. Make sure you tell me that, because I'm gonna set that up for this coming Thursday as a
Yes,
topic. Yeah.
yes.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys got something from this. Shout out to everybody who was in here chit chatting. Always that girl, Tasha T. Um, Sirius was in here. Realist was in here for a time. I thank you guys for your support as always, and thank you for the gifts, the super chats, the all of it, and also my awesome co-host Miss Nexie. I thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me, Miss Marlene, and thank you everyone for your support to Miss Marlene's channels and for putting up with us. It's fun. But thank you
Yes,
for doing that so gracefully.
yes, no
Thank you
problem.
for having me, Miss Marlene.
No problem. And we'll see you guys on Thursday. I'm going to end with the sip and chat song. See you guys on
Yay.
Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.
Pull up a chair, leave your worries at the door. Whatever's on your mind, you don't have to carry it no more. The steam is rising from the cup, the vibe is feeling right. We're diving deep into the soul, we're searching for the light. From the aches and the pains to the joys we finally find. It's the sip and chat, the healing of the mind. It's Marlene and Miss Nexie, side by side. No secret too heavy, nowhere left to hide. They're pouring out their hearts just to fill yours up again. A conversation started between two good friends. Whoa, this is the Sip and Chat, the weekly place to be, where we talk about the heart and we set the spirit free. Pour a little love, take a little sip. Life is a journey, the message is clear. Love is all you need, love is all, and you'll find it right here. Yeah. Matters of the heart, yeah, we're breaking down the walls. Learning how to stand up even after all the fall. Self-love is the lesson, self-care is the key. Becoming the person that you're meant to be. So watch the videos, enjoy the weekly flow. We're planting the seeds to help your garden grow. Turn those notifications implications. Oh, don't miss a single drop of the wisdom. Because you deserve to feel better, you deserve to heal. Where we talk about the heart, and we set the spirit free. Pour a little love. The message is clear. Love is all you need. Love is all, and you'll find it right here. Sip and chat. Sip and chat. Love yourself better. Love yourself better. Weekly podcast. Pouring out that soul. Marlene and Miss Dixie, making hearts whole. Oh yeah, making hearts whole.
Thank you guys for coming. See you guys on Thursday. Bye bye.